Bro said, what do I call you, Larry? That's literally your first.
Man.
So you thought I was Larry?
Hey, man. Man, look, the branding is amazing, so I thought it was Larry. Now the guy couldn't know.
I did a fucking I did like a virtual convo with this podcast based out of Toronto recently. They found me on Instagram, and bro was like, that's like one of the things that really stood out to him was Larry. So I was like, all right, Larry about to blow us up. He gonna be the one that blow us up.
Larry, shout out to Larry. You feel me? Gotcha. Boom, boom.
Hell yeah, man. But what's good though?
Man, all is well, man. First of all, man, top of the top, man. It's 2023, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You were actually supposed to be the first episode of 2023, hey, but we had a random kind of like Ricky the Ruler. She was in town this weekend, so we did it.
Yeah. So, absolutely, I seen the premiere drop or whatever like that coming up. So yeah.
Happy New Year, man. How you doing?
Absolutely, man. I'm solid, bro. I'm blessed. Yeah. I'm blessed, man. I'm glad to be here, bro. There's a lot of people that still ain't here, man. So you know.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to be here,
bro. It's crazy doing the podcast in this area because somebody was telling me like, yo, who else are you gonna talk to? Like, bro, it's so many fucking talented people out here. It's almost not even funny. It's like
it is, man.
You don't run out of people to talk to.
Nah, for sure. I feel like Virginia. Even when I go out of state, I tell people, man, like Virginia is such a big melting pot in a manner of like you got so many people. Like whether they on the surface, they underneath, they in the crevices. Like it's people everywhere that do a little bit of everything. They got something going on. So I love it here, bro.
Yeah, I think you lived in LA for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I was out LA for like 2.5, almost 3 years, right before the pandemic hit, man. So I was out there. I moved out there, me, two of my business partners. Moved out there top of 2018. And yeah, I moved back maybe like midway 2020, end of 20.
What made you come back?
Shit, the pandemic, bro.
I'm
gonna keep it 100. I mean, you know how people like to be, people like to show all this glamorous life and all this and that vibe, man. Like that's cool and all. Like, you can cap. I don't mind the cap. But I will keep it 100 with you. Pandemic was like, really hitting in a sense. And it was just like, okay, I'm stacking up on a little bit of bread things like that. So either am I gonna spend it out LA and that might only last me 3 to 6 months, or do I come to Virginia and then do I let it spread out a lot longer and then, use it, invest it in other different ways that I know I can't, I wouldn't say I can't use it in LA, but it's not going to go as far in LA. Because, man, the lifestyle in LA was just different for me. I mean, I was a person who ain't have a car. So, I mean, you talking about a person who was Ubering everywhere, doing 3-4 sessions a day.
Yeah. I've been in LA like 3-4
every
times.
single day. So, I'm spending just off Uber before we even talk about eating. I'm spending $200 to $300 a day traveling. So it's just like, yeah, though. Doing that compared to coming back here and I got a car. Yeah.
Even on the pandemic, like in certain places like LA, I think it was just more hectic as far as like the crime and there's like a lot of robberies and they were burning buildings down. Like it just seemed like a scary place to be during the pandemic.
LA, man, is an interesting place, bro. I like to tell people, man, it's like you gotta really have your energy right when you step into a place like LA. Because I wouldn't say you're gonna get extorted, but it's just like it's gonna pull it out. So whatever your energy is, if it ain't right, it's gonna pull that out of you. If it is right, if you centered, okay, it's gonna test you to make sure that you centered. If you not centered, it's gonna test you also too. And that man it might flip you upside your head.
Yeah.
I mean, everything won't glitz and glamour when I was out LA. It was love. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I ran into a lot of great things. I met a lot of great people. Started a lot of great relationships when I was out there. But at the same time, but I went down to my lowest out LA.
What was your lowest?
I mean, the lowest was, let's give a description. My lowest was, all right, envision, okay, I got access to a studio.
So you were just kind of out there working at somebody else's studio, just bringing people in, doing your own sessions at someone else's studio, though.
So let's run it from the top then.
Yeah.
So me and my business partners, this probably maybe like the back end of 2017. We getting a lot of things going. I'm moving up and down the East Coast, recording people like Arsenal the Rebel, doing a lot of things with Rick Rogers and a lot of his associates. And, I'm traveling and doing a lot of different work in a bunch of different studios and things like that. But it came to the point, man, where it was like, I feel like we capping ourselves by staying in Virginia. Because I feel like we in a nice lake, but it's time to go to the ocean. You know what I'm saying? It's time to go to the ocean. So if we really gonna bet on ourselves and we say we really do music and we see ourselves at this highest level, well, we need to be around more sharks. I started to feel like, man, I started getting in certain rooms and like I'm the smartest person in the room. And it's like, I'm in
really
so
grow
many
from
of
that.
those rooms,
Yeah.
it's just like, those rooms I don't need to really be in. I feel like I'm the smartest person. No cockiness, no nothing like that, but, you know, it was just like, bro, I need to get around some more sharps. Iron sharper iron, you know, so on and so on. So we jumped off the cliff in January, moved out there to L.A., probably me and my business partner birthday weekend. We shared like the same birthday weekend or whatever like that, or within 2 days, born apart. But moved out there, man. Within my first 3 weeks of being out there, I got an internship with Mike and Keys, which is Nipsey Hussle's production company. And, you know, built a lot with them, man. First week working with them, I'm in Dr. Dre's studio. It's a high.
Yeah, you produced on Nipsey's newest album, right? Or engineered?
I did not. So that's another engineer.
Didn't you do like
named
the rap N-words song?
No, you talking about? Nah, I ain't do rap niggas. No. So that wasn't me.
Yeah.
So interesting thing, people get me mixed up with another guy named G. Okay. He's actually from Hampton, Virginia too. He's an engineer, but he was Nip personal engineer. But that wasn't me. When I came out there, it was more of like they already pretty much recorded the bulk of the album, and they was more like on the post production side,
I think
mixing
Victory
and stuff
Lab,
like
right?
Yeah, for Victory Lab. Yeah. So it was literally almost done. It was just getting fine tuned just to get turned in and stuff like that. So a lot of the records was already done. It was just finishing up, you know, putting the sprinkles on the cake and stuff like that. So, but things was going cool, bro. You know, so I'm in the midst of working. I'm meeting people. I'm meeting a lot of my idols and things like that. I'm working with them and more. But at the same time, my living situation went all the way right. So, you know, I'm getting a little bit of bread from my main source of income was from people doing studio work out here in VA.
Still, while you were out there?
Yeah, still when I was out there. So that was like my only source of income. Didn't have a job, nothing like that. Like, I ain't had a job since 2010. I just recently got a job like last year. Wow. That's my first job since like 2010.
Well, oh, that's good. Okay, so out here you have your own studio, so you're probably just renting it out.
Well, so like... I've been had my own studio since maybe like 2014, things like that. So I was still running that. Had interns from Newport State and Hampton University pulling up, doing work and things like that there. So money was coming, but it was way slower compared to, you know, me physically being out here. Because, you know, studio culture around here, man, people come to people's studios because of the people that sit in the seat, not because of the facility. Which is a whole different topic and vibe or whatever like that.
You would think it's for the quality, like you want a certain...
I mean, yeah, people go for the quality and thing like that, but they going for the experience of the person that's sitting in that chair.
And the connection and like...
Yeah, for the connections and things like that. So it was just like, if I'm not there, then I'm like the main ingredient to the room of why I'm even here. So it's like, most people weren't really pulling up. So I had a very, you know, the flow was going slow. And, you know, bro, I mean, when I'm talking about I hit a low, dog, like you talking like... I had access to a nice big studio. I was doing work with Rostrum Records at one point, and I had 24-hour access there. Good, everything was love, but you talking about I had like $6 in my bank account, like real low. I ain't got no place to stay. I ain't showering for like 10 to 12 days straight until I can get to the homie crib. Shout out to E. Let me be on the couch for maybe a day out of every other week at a time, and you know, bro, shower and everything, go back to the studio. I'm there for another good little run or whatever like that, taking bird baths in bathrooms and stuff like that. So
bird baths.
Yeah,
is this because you were not making a lot, like actually doing the work, or you just had a lot of expenses out there?
I mean, bro, a lot of expenses. I mean, any and everything that you can really think about. On top of the fact that, you know, I was thinking, my mentality was like, man, LA is like the place I'm gonna be able to get it from. And you know, I'm starting over. It's like I was starting over from scratch. When I was over here, I was pretty comfortable. I could have just stayed over here, been comfortable, and I could have ride a nice little wave, and I could have been real good. But instead, I said, man, look, I'm going to go against myself. I'm going to go against the grain, and let me bet more on myself. So that's what it was. That was one of the repercussions of it, financially going through a little, you know, despairing moments and things like that. But honestly, man, it came out, man. Like I said, man, I had $6 in my pocket, not really taking showers like I really need to and things like that. But I got people like T.I. calling my phone saying, yo, we need an engineer. Pull up.
He like, bro, please take a shower.
But I'm like, oh man, bro. But man, yeah, it became love. But after a while, man, I started getting access to other different studios that had showers, other different things like that. Nothing there, joint, bro. Yeah. Of course, you know what I'm saying? Because you know you messing up the vibe. You can't do that by stinking. So
but that's what happens when you go into that ocean, like you said, from the lake.
Absolutely,
but
bro.
To me, also, I think that part of that key process is you figured out your formula in the city.
Absolutely.
Then you took it somewhere else to replicate it and expand it. Like,
absolutely.
So I always say that. Like, I feel like everything we're doing right now in this stage in the city, like, it's preparation.
Oh yeah, most
for
definitely.
like the next level.
100%, man. Because I mean, when I went out there, man, like it was nothing but just confirmation that I was already on a great level, and that I got a lot of great places to still go. So yeah, man, when I got out there, it was just like, oh man, you dope, bro, you dope. Yeah, I get your number, this and that, da, 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 you dope. Everywhere I'm going and things like that. So it was just like, all right, I'm in the right place, but I just really got to make it, figure it out and work. And so it's like I'm working with all these different people, and they already got their business and everything down packing. You know, they getting their royalty checks every other quarter and things like that. So
What's some
they
things?
straight.
Yeah, what's some things you see like in these other areas like LA or whatever that maybe we can apply here to take it further?
Great question. So number one is the business. Like we don't practice the business as much as people in the bigger cities practice it. And what I mean by the business, like a lot of people think the typical form. I'm not gonna say the typical form, but the thing that I really see out here, people go in the studio, they're going there, cop 4 to 6 hours of studio time, trying to record a whole album or a whole mixtape project or whatever like that. So you're already capping yourself from the very get-go because you're not even really putting the love and the nourishment into the whole process of making the music.
It's like trying to rush it, essentially.
It's like you rushing, you know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, you know, you're dealing with people who got 9 to 5s, they got families and things like that, and they trying to make it work with the little bit of resources and things that they got. So I get it at the same time too. End up doing that, they drop it, they may do a release party somewhere, like a club or something like that, drop it. Next 2-3 weeks, that's pretty much it. They may get it played like on the radio, 103 Jams on Sunday night or something like that. Get it to a couple different podcasts locally or things like that. Perform at some couple different open mics and stuff like that. And, you know, that's the end of the push. And they be like, all right, next to the next one. That's the trend. What I really be seeing out everywhere else, first, they take the time. If they not signed somewhere, then it's like, bro, what are we rushing for? Mentality is just different. It's just like from the very get-go, from creating, like, man, we going to book a 12-hour block session in a nice, big, fancy studio just to probably only come out with maybe 1.5, 2 records.
But take your time with it.
And they taking their time, so it's like, man, going into that record, like you thinking that, a lot of people thinking that that's a waste of time, but when I got into the mix and fold of there, I learned that, like, dang, that sometimes they taking 3 to 4 hours just to prep and get a vibe going. And just to build off conversations, and then that can lead to definitely moments. You know what I'm saying? And then that's how you get the best records that, you know, people keep singing to today. So, I mean, I love that formula and things. Past that though, as far as like the music business aspect, just the push, bro. Like, you know, Fetty Wap is king for pushing the record. I think he pushed this record.
You said Fetty Wap?
Yeah, Fetty Wap pushed this record, I think, for maybe 2 or 3 years right before the joint really popped mainstream. So it's like, I don't really see people doing that. I don't see people putting feet behind the record or putting the fire behind the record.
Like putting
and not
that traveling,
work and not really,
like,
working the record. Like you might work it in your area, but are you working it regionally? Are you working it within a 100-mile radius?
Even in your area, I feel like we don't like artists don't do enough to pop in their area. Because think about it, like you trying to reach the world. Okay, we all are billions of people out here, but it's also probably 100,000 people you can reach in your area. Absolutely. If you do it the right way. You can have 100,000 people in your area buying your music. Like, so why can't you build that hype locally? And I feel like it's just way cooler too. Like, I feel like everybody want to pop somewhere else. Like, sometimes I get it, you might have to do that, but I think it's way cooler to pop in your city because it's a foundation.
Yeah.
Like, you probably have a way higher chance of building a core, like, fan base if you pop in your area first. Maybe. I don't know. Like,
so I'm going to say yes and no.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes and no. Because I feel like in this area, and shout out to my man Lowski, because I just seen he was up here not too long ago.
That was a fire combo, yeah.
And, you know, I think one of the things I took away from his interview, I think he was saying, like, this isn't an area where it's like people are, like, fan-driven here in a manner. So I'll go behind him and really say, like, I'm going to piggyback off of that, and I'm going to say pretty much this area kind of goes off of, like, all right, what's popping and what's in now? What's the trend now? And
as far as like fans, listeners.
Yeah, as far as like fans and listeners. I'm not saying that there's not no great fans and listeners here. I feel like that's there. But a lot of times they want to catch the wave or they want to ride the wave when it's already at high tide. They don't want to catch it when it's in the process. They want to take that risk. They don't want to take that risk, man. It'd just be like, yeah, what's a retweet a risk? Like, what's a me showing up to your spot and paying $20 to see you perform as a risk? Like, that's not that big of a risk. If you're going to buy... oh man! If you gonna go buy drugs from somebody that you don't know just to take a risk on if it's good
That's
or
a
not.
big risk though. We ain't taking risks
You
like
know what I'm
that. For
saying?
real.
But that's what I'm saying. It's just like, if you're gonna do that, then it's like, man, what's the risk of you going to your homie who rapping and everything like that? And even if he good or not good, you pulling up and you showing love.
Yeah, I feel like we don't have that pride. It like kind of goes hand in hand. Like we talking about LA, but it's a certain pride. Like I'm from LA, or I'm from New York, or people have like I'm from Texas. It's a certain when you have already that pride of being from your area, you probably gonna like rep your artist more. And we kind of already just missing that pride. Period.
Yeah.
So that's like even a whole different issue outside of arts and entertainment. That's just a thing of being from Virginia. So I didn't really know what that is.
I mean, man, we can
like how often do you hear somebody? Have you ever heard somebody in a movie or anywhere be proud of being from Virginia?
In movies and big things like that, nah. A lot of people try to hide the fact that you're from Virginia. I see a lot of that more than anything. But then again, when I see background people, as far as like people who like songwriters, people who producers, people who work, camera crews for different things, people that's more on behind the scenes of the entertainment business, they rap in Virginia all day. It's many of people I done met out, LA that's from Virginia, and it's like Superman. You know what I'm saying? Like they just wearing that junk on their chest. Any and everywhere they go, they can't go in the room without saying that they from Virginia.
Behind the scenes,
and then people know. And whether it's people behind the scenes or people who actual artists, like one of the main people who I met out LA that was from Virginia was Peter Sun. Peter Sun, first place any area he walked, he proud to rep where he from. And that's VA. And it's just like everybody know, at least the clique of people that I was around, it was just like, oh, you from VA? Oh, you gotta be hard. You hard. Cause everybody from VA hard. Like I ain't heard no BS from VA. So it's like, and then when I go to other places too, bro, it's like, you hear people that's not the best, and they may have some motion though, and it's just like, I wouldn't say the trash. That would, without, for lack of a better term, the trash that's out here really ain't trash. I think it's just untapped talent that people ain't really manifesting.
It's like it's unappreciated. The world don't really respect it yet. You touching on behind the scenes, like, so you're an engineer,
audio engineer, studio owner, producer. Yeah, a little bit of everything.
I feel like as far as just the music game, like the engineers probably haven't got their credit yet. Am I right about that? Like,
I feel like
go through ways, producers kind of getting it now.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of two-part question. Just the credit on engineers, or how you feel about that, and also how do engineers usually get paid? Are they getting royalties or
great
like
question?
That?
I love that. That's a great question. So, to your first part, like, I feel like engineers are starting to get there. They just do now, just about. Now, I mean, you're not really hearing records that have, like, engineer tags and things like that. I think that's kind of a stretch, you know what I'm saying? But as far as, like, the respect is definitely getting there. But then, too, it just depends about, where you at. Let's look at this. You got a bottle of this Deer Park water, right? Here, you probably can go to the store, 7-Eleven. You probably can grab this for, like, 50 cents, right? That's here. I can go out L.A., I see the same bottle of water.
Like $4 probably.
Now, hold on. I can see the same bottle of water. I look at that with Fiji. So, look, Fiji in the store. Let's talk about Fiji. Because Fiji is a good water that a lot of people like to grab because it's bougie and all this and that, clean or whatever like that.
Or just shit on a Deer Park.
You know what I'm saying? I love Deer Park. But, I'm just saying, like, Fiji around here, realistically, you going to spend Fiji probably about, like, $2 to $4, depending on the size of the bottle. I seen the smallest Fiji bottle of water at an outside bar in LA, $20. So it ain't like, but what's the difference though? The water in the container that it holds ain't different. It's where that thing is at.
I feel like I seen a meme kind of like that.
You know what
Similar.
I'm saying?
Yeah, like
I probably took it from a meme too.
Your value changes depending on your environment.
Absolutely, man. I feel like that, man. So it's like, some people can get stuck in that mentality of like, damn, I don't feel like I ain't getting the respect, I ain't getting this and that. Well, maybe take your talent somewhere else. LeBron took his talent somewhere else and got it popping. Why can't you do the same thing? Take the same thing.
That goes back. That's a big risk, like we touched on earlier.
A big risk, but
yeah,
ain't no big gain without risk.
Exactly.
Ain't no big gain without risk. And then you said the second part was
the money wise.
Money wise. So typically, as an audio engineer, you get more work for hire gigs more than anything. So for people who don't know what work for hire is, it's pretty much saying, that I pull up, whatever I do that day for that service, that's all I get paid. I walk away from it, I get nothing else.
Like per job basis.
Yeah, per job type vibe. So like, that's just it. Like, that's just what
that's almost like a subcontractor in the construction game. I feel
absolutely,
like.
yeah. But you know, I know plenty of engineers also too. That's just like, you know, you may not have the budget to pay for my particular mix or pay for my engineering skills or services and things like that. So in exchange, I'll take some money, and then I'm also going to take a percentage of the record too. And then it just all depends and tapped in who you tapped in with. Shout out to Mike and Keys, because when I was working business with them, it was great business. Like, so every main EP or project that we was working on, from Damo Genesis all the way to my man Gypsy, who got a lot of great things going on. He been doing a lot of work with P Son and stuff like that out there, out the West. You know, man, it's like, you know, I got a piece of the back end, you know what I'm saying, almost as a writer and producer, because some engineers, you know, some people gonna come in and they just gonna press record, stop. All right, you like that? You like that, bro? All right, cool. All right, woo. All right, next song. So yeah, people like that that's doing that, yeah. But then people like me, I'm gonna put my input into it. I'm gonna say, nah, bro, go harder. You need to go harder. You can say that line better than that. Past that, nah, let's chop this part. You could just chop this whole intro, because bro, why we listening to this intro for 25 seconds, 30 seconds?
Like you're putting your creativity into it too.
I'm putting my creativity into it, putting some sauce into it. So it's like all of those things, Flare Out Records. Honestly, bro, I'm gonna be real. That's how I got my Beyonce placement.
And you're like a Grammy award winning.
Grammy
that,
nominated.
Right? Nominated?
Yeah,
Close enough.
Grammy nominated.
We gonna
yeah,
say
definitely close enough.
You pretty
know
much
what I'm saying? But in the future though, I'm getting it soon. But you know.
Yeah, I seen it on your Instagram too, bro. That's wild. You know, it's funny because my parents are from Bosnia.
Okay.
And like, so they don't really understand what I'm doing too much here. They think it's like kind of a waste of time. They don't really see it yet. They waiting for me to get money. But so certain times, like, okay, you work with Beyonce. So my mom even knows who Beyonce is. So I'm like, yeah, I got a guy up here that's worked with Beyonce. And she's like, all right, like, kind of making sense to her. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Mom, we getting to it. We getting to it, mom.
Figuring stuff out.
But yeah, how was that?
Man, it was love, bro. I mean, I randomly got a call from one of my good songwriter friends, Cadence. Shout out to Cadence, Fresh, Cass, and everybody, the whole crew. But I got a call from Cadence. She hit me, known songwriter in the West. She was already writing for like Ariana Grande, Brandy, and a whole slew of people. Like, she's a crazy writer. But hit me up and just like, yo, GY, I'm gonna need you all day. All right, cool. What we doing? I know you got the plays rolling. Not even just the fact of the plays, but you know, you make great music, and I'm all about great music first before anything. You know what I'm saying? We're going to figure out the business eventually, but I'm all about great music. So she was like, yeah, I'm going to need you probably for like 12 to 16 hours a day. I said, all right, cool. I pull up to a location. It's a long ass time. You hear me? So I pull up to some random studio in LA. This probably like almost near Hollywood Boulevard, maybe, right near Sunset Boulevard, something like that. Some joint. And, you know, I pull up, it's gated or whatever like that, you know, got talking to walkie-talkie joint, like, all right, cool. Gate slide back, I get to this little building, I'm like, okay, cool. Get upstairs. I guess it's upstairs, downstairs, but I go upstairs. We sit down, we get an email from Sasha. Sasha is Beyonce's manager. Okay. And she's reading everything, the details from it, and saying that she's working on a project with African-inspired sounds and things of that nature, and rhythms and, you know, textures and things like that, and they're looking for songs that's driven with these certain particular type of topics. And during that time, it was a rumor going around that maybe she's about to get ready and do something with Lion King, but nobody exactly knew. It wasn't public knowledge yet. So
that was like it was like the soundtrack for the movie,
the soundtrack
right?
for Lion King. You know, and that's becoming more of the play nowadays, the trend play for a lot of people. So I know like she did that with Lion King. I know Kendrick Lamar and TDE, they did that with the Black Panther.
Kid Cudi dropped a whole new, you seen his animated show?
No.
You should watch that. It's really good. He dropped a new album as a soundtrack for it, and it's like an animated show. He's voice acting in it. He's the main character.
Oh, wow.
But it's like a cartoon. It's kind of like a love story.
Okay.
And I want to say in New York. It's really cool, though.
Oh, no, I got to check that out. I'm going to Google that tonight when I get up out of here. So, yeah, man, we in that joint, man. We working. We just working on regular songwriting stuff as we do. Man, we did 3 records upstairs, man. Didn't think nothing about it. Went right downstairs and started working with Kelly Rowland for another 8-hour block session. And that was love. You know, that was like more of an in-person session. When I was upstairs working for 8+ hours, you know, it was just us, the songwriters, and me, engineering.
So you went from an 8-hour session to another 8-hour session?
Yeah, back to back, right upstairs, downstairs. Yeah, all in the same building.
Now we know why bro was talking about showering early. He ain't even had time to.
Nah,
You know
bro,
what I'm
bro,
saying?
look,
Get to it.
bro, look. Let me tell you, man. When I used to, my wife probably kill me for saying this, but look, when I used to have days and stretches, bro, like it got to the point when I wasn't even taking care of myself. That's what I'm saying. Like to a degree, I moved back out here for the pandemic, but health reasons, other different things of that nature, man. Just if I can get a better sense of the people and just start taking care of myself better. Kind of slow things up just to kind of take care of myself because you got to put yourself as a priority at the end of the day.
Like your health and
Yeah, your health and everything else like that, man. So when I was out there, bro, like you talking about, I used to have times, bro, where I'll be at somebody doing a songwriting camp for 3 days, and they doing it from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'm the engineer in all of the rooms for that joint. Leave there. I go do a 10 to 12 hour block with another artist right after. I got him for 2 to 3 days straight at nighttime. So as soon as I leave from there, I'm going straight back to the spot for the second day, go right back for the second day working with the artist, and go right back for the third day of the songwriting camp, so on and so on. And then I'll leave early from the last gig and head straight to the plane, head back here for a week, do some work out here, then bounce back.
that's
It's just
literally
like
insane. Where you feel like you get that like
crazy.
level of focus from, and what you think drives you? Because a lot of people, that's a different level of focus to really be able to, you know what I'm saying, lock in like that for days at a time.
Absolutely.
That's different. And how have you try to put your health more? You know what I'm saying first.
I mean, for me,
Now,
bro, like
yeah.
I mean, I'm a band head, bro. So like when I was in middle school, high school, like I really got into the band, and then like music really saved my life. So I was just started to get very dedicated to it. Like, man, I got a tattoo on my arm to say music is life, and I was really living it like music was my life. So, I mean, everything was second to music. I mean, and then when I probably got to college, like, I really started jumping into the music technology joint, and I had an instructor who I really looked up to, Timothy Zachary. He left Nova State, went to another school down in Texas, and became the head band director down there. But shout out to him because they doing real big things or whatever like that. But he really told me, he said, man, look, technology is the way. If this is really what you want to do, like take hold of it now and bet on yourself. So I did that after my second semester at Nova State.
What year was this?
This was 2009. So we talking second semester. This was top of 2010, January. Man, I switched my major from music education, which was on track to be a teacher. It's like a band teacher, core teacher, whatever like that. To they had a program there called music media, which was it's like a mixture of that and like mass comm. So things for like podcasts, radio, music engineering.
And this probably when
things of that
podcasts weren't
nature
even
like
like really a thing yet.
yeah, before podcasts was really even a thing.
There was a couple. I think really might have been like only like Joe Rogan was like probably
Type vibe,
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, just from those type days, man, I took the discipline that I learned from when I was in band because Nova State had more of like a militaristic type of vibe to it. And yeah, I just implemented that in my overall workflow. So when I was in college, bro, like most people, they living life, man. They having, the time of their lives. They partying, they having the women, they having any and everything. You know what I'm saying? At their disposal, and they just really there having fun. They barely even there really working on their grades. For me, I already knew what I wanted early, and I think that's what separated me from the pack. A lot of my other friends and things like that, they had great experiences, but they were still trying to feel around on what they really wanted to do career wise. I already knew what I wanted to do stepping into the school. So from that part, man, I told the band, I said, look, I know I'm on scholarship, but I got a job. And my job is a recording studio at my man spot up the street. You know what I'm saying? And we just gonna trap it out there. So when I be in there, I think I had maybe like Monday, Wednesdays, and some Fridays off to work in the studio. So while I'm there, I'm going to go pick up my mans from Newport News, one of my business partners. Shout out to Stevie Fooley. He out of Atlanta right now.
Is that the one you went to LA with?
Yeah, one of my guys I went to LA with. And it was at the house of my other business partner, my man Theory. Shout out to him too. Yeah, man. So I mean, I used to pick him up from getting him off the shipyard, take him back. We working on music all night. Take him back early in the morning, like 3 a.m. back on this side. Go back. I got trumpet practice at 5 a.m. I'm in the building at 5 a.m. Then I got a main big practice rehearsal at 7 a.m. Then I had my first class at 8:39 a.m. And then it's the whole full day. After that point, I got a day full of classes, and I got practice after. And I ain't getting out of practice till like midnight, 1 o'clock. What you think I'm doing? Going right back to the door and working on some beats. So the mentality is crazy, man. But like I said too, man, you do that type of vibe so long, your health. You know what I'm saying? Your health tends to drop down and things like that. And for me,
That's that obsession.
Yeah,
it's like
definitely an obsession.
You so locked in on this shit. I kind of go through that too sometimes. As far it could be like you can maybe not put as importance on the relationships in your life, or like you said, your health. Like you can kind of forget about every other part of your life. And almost be too upset sometimes, but that's what it takes to win. But it's like,
I feel like, man, just to become a master at something, man, I feel like you gotta have at least a solid 6 months to a year of obsession.
Not more. That's
just
a little bit.
Love and just marrying with. You have to, bare minimum. You know, you got to at least bare minimum put in 10,000 hours of work that people don't even see.
That's like Mr. Beast. You know Mr. Beast?
Yeah, I heard him. Yeah,
he's like the biggest YouTuber. He was talking about for like I think like 7-8 years, like middle school, high school life. He had no life. All he did was watch YouTube videos, but in a way to where he was studying them, like what goes viral. And so it's just like the amount of time you really got to put into something to be great is crazy to me. And I respect people from all fields that do that. Anybody that has that focus, that's just crazy to me. You could be, you know what I'm saying, electrician. I used to be an electrician.
Yeah.
And that's where I really got my focus from. My work ethic, kind of just having that 9 to 5. And I was never really lazy. I always had a hustle, but that just showed me how to like really block everything out and just, you know what I'm saying, get to it.
Just really tap in, man. Yeah, man. So, but man, yeah, man. As far as like taking care of my health and things like that, bro, it was more things like mentally, man, more than anything for me, man. So, I started getting like a therapist and things like that, man. I recommend everybody, man, to go get a therapist at the end of the day. It's just like, I think it's just therapeutic, man. We go through so much trauma, bro, that a lot of people just don't even know about, or you don't even sit down enough to even process, especially men. You know what I'm saying? Because I think we tend to put our emotions and things like that to the side for we can provide or do other different things that we know we may need to do at that moment. And I think it comes with a price sometimes. And sometimes, man, you just got to sit down on the couch with somebody and just talk. Somebody who ain't going to be, you know what I'm saying, biased to you and your situations or whatever like that. And, you know, sometimes you just got to, you know, put the missing pieces back together in the puzzle.
No pun intended, bro. We really on the couch right now. Definitely. You touched on music technology too. I think you have the brand Music Tech, right?
Yes, sir.
That's your brand?
Yeah, Music Tech.
You want to tell us kind of a little bit about that?
Yeah,
and
man.
I think you guys do the East End. Is it called the East End sessions?
Yeah, we did an East End workshop, man. Yeah. We did maybe about 3 sessions of those last year, man. Them joints went well, man. But yeah, Music Tech, man, it's a mantra, it's a lifestyle, it's a vibe where it's like, you know, we really giving back to people who really want to tap in with music. So whether you want to be an artist, whether you want to be a producer, whether you want to be a manager, whether you want to be somebody that's a performer on the instrumentalist side, whatever you really want to do with music, we're pretty much creating that community and hub of different educational paths and things for people in that manner. So like we was giving out free workshops where we just had people submit music and we invited people to come to the biggest studio that's in Hampton or on this side of the water and pretty much just get in the vibe and just create with people that you don't even know. You don't really have different vibes. You don't really have vibes like that around here. So just to be able to create that opportunity to have people get together and, you know, you working on things that you never had direction or never had somebody actually tell you to do. So, for example, when we get people in, it's only one, you know, the studio is only one main big studio. But it had...
You talking about the one like in Yorktown?
Nah.
Where Cartel's joint is?
Nah. Okay. So I got a studio out there, John, too. So it ain't with Cartel, John, because even though I would love to do something there, that's some whole other different vibes. But it's a joint called Black Label Recording Studio. Shout out to JR, George, a major engineer. You talking about a guy from a legend, worked on Michael Jackson stuff.
From everybody.
He out here. He was Teddy Riley's first engineer. But he's still out here. He's still in the Virginia Beach and everything like that. But the studio's out here in Hampton. So hidden gem or whatever like that. So had access to it. It's only one main big room, but we made 3 studios out of it. So took my equipment.
Like put walls up and stuff?
I mean, he had 2 different booths. He got one stand-up vocal booth and then maybe about the size of that. And then he had a very big live room that's almost like the size of this, where people would have like the live instruments in. So we would do that, made a makeshift studio in there, and we made a makeshift studio in the lobby, and then he had the main big room. So we had 3 active running studios, 3 different engineers. Shout out to Dez the Genius, shout out to Dorshay, shout out to A. Lil, shout out to Khalil, shout out to everybody that participated in the joint engineering wild, shout out to them, they dope. And just pretty much, man, we was just putting on a showcase of just all the talent in the area and people just meshing and working together. We giving them tasks of like, all right, I want you all, I got a bunch of trap rappers together, okay, I want y'all to make a top 40 song. All right, so very short intro, get straight to the topic, give me a catchy melody off rip. Within the first 15 seconds, I need to fall in love with it.
So you're like challenging them.
Yeah,
almost.
I'm challenging them. Go to another room. I got a bunch of room with songwriters and singers. All right, I need y'all to do me a love song. Give me a 2022 typical love song. Not a ballad, but just something that's just gonna allow us to groove and just bop. Then I got a bunch of people who really like lyricism and things like that. All right, give me something that you can hear that's like sync worthy. That's like for Power or for like a gangster movie or anything like that. For we can get it play somewhere. Because a lot of people have visions to make records. Excuse me. We got visions to make records, but we're not really thinking of attention and like where to really place them at in the area. Like I said, it goes back to like the business of things. So it's like, man, every song has a home. It's just, are you willing to go find a place where it's supposed to fit at?
I think United Masters is doing like stuff like that for artists. You can submit to places.
So they got the thing with like the 2K and TikTok and other different things of that nature, where they doing like sync licensing. But man, it is a bag in sync licensing. Again, let me look at the camera when I say that. It's a bag. It's a bag in sync licensing.
And you probably don't even got to be like super known. You could be like,
no, bro. I met people who make 6 figures, almost 7 figures a year from their house making music.
And nobody knows them for real.
No. But they're making music that's everywhere. They're making music for NFL commercials. They're making music for your favorite reality shows and things like that. I looked at a guy off YouTube. It was this True TV Network. I don't know if anybody know what that is or whatever like that.
I think I heard of that.
Yeah. So they had like a bunch of different reality shows up there, but they had this genre called Lizard Lick Towing or something like that.
Wait, what?
I forgot what it's called. I don't know. I think it's like Lizard Towing or something like that. I'm thinking it's from guys from like North Carolina, South Carolina.
Oh, towing. So it's probably like a towing joint.
Yeah. So it's like towing or whatever like that. So it's like a countryish type of soundtrack that's like the theme song. A real cheesy kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? But this cheesy type record, I mean, the man showed his royalty. It was him and maybe 4 of the people that was on the record that created the track. So it's split like in 5 different sections. He showed one of his portions, just that song made within 1 quarter. It generated like him like $20-something thousand every quarter. Every quarter. And that's just a fifth of what it made. And you talking about something that rolls over the syndication. So this joint plays like in every episode, it probably plays like 5 or 6 times. You get money for every single time it plays. And it's 30-minute episodes. So it plays like it runs with like 4 to 6 episodes a day.
And then
5 days a week.
And then he only has to do that initial work. The initial work he did to put it. That's what he has to do. He doesn't have to do no more work. Doesn't have to perform the song, promote it, post it. Nothing is done.
No. So up front, you can negotiate depending on who he went through, whether he went directly through a music supervisor or he went through a subsidiary company that was hired for that particular show or whatever like that, can determine how much you're getting on the front end or you're not getting anything. And then, you get your back end, your writer share. And you can eat off that if it rolls into syndication.
That's cool to me, bro. Just like being anonymous and doing shit. Like, that's why I really fuck with Bitcoin. You know how the creator of Bitcoin is anonymous? You heard of that?
I heard a little bit about it. Go ahead, shed some light on that.
I don't know too much, but he goes by Satoshi Nakamoto. That's just what people know him as. But
okay,
nobody actually knows who he is. He created Bitcoin, changed the world, and fucking did it anonymously. There's a few music artists that have been anonymous, that don't show their face. It's been stuff like that. Like, I think it's cool it's like the ultimate level of removing your ego or yourself from your art, just dropping it anonymous. And if it turns out to being some crazy shit that changes the world, it's like, bro, that's a hell of a secret to walk around with. Like, you know what I mean?
It is, man. Sometimes it
tell people. But just tell people. But did any music come out of these workshops that you guys did? Like, any work actually come out?
Yeah. So I mean, we sitting on a couple of different records right now, and we just trying to figure out what we really want to do with it. So haven't placed anything with them because again, like we just started this maybe like on the back end of the summertime of 2022. So
it's still early.
Yeah, so it's still early, man. And now, man, we roll into a thing, man, where we really starting to introduce a lot of people that's at younger ages to the studio vibes in the music business. That's our main focus now. So we started off by taking Huntington Middle School and Heritage High School students from their music programs and just their population. We had them come to the recording studio, did a whole presentation for them, created beats, created music, had music artists come through, had Sko Money pull up. I had Bruce on the beat, who works with OTF, pull up. I had a couple people pull up. Even like my very first workshop, I had VA Black pull up. DJ for Maybach Music, matter of fact, Low Ski DJ. A couple other people pull up. I had Young Raj pull up.
I see you did an interview with Raj.
Yeah. So I mean, we just trying to give it to the people, and that's my main focus now, man. It's really tapping into the school systems, because I'm not to get it too deep with like grant money and bags and things like that, but just more or less, man, it's about each one teach one. And it's like, if I can build up people that's younger than me and I can show them the path, then I feel like I'm doing more of my job. That's more of my purpose. So it's really more purpose driven, but yeah, man, it's a lot of things, man, we got coming, man. So a lot of partnerships that we looking to have with some upcoming universities and things of that nature. Man, I'm dropping it and running it as a school soon, later in the fall.
Like actual school?
Yeah, like actual school. So we do online classes and in-person classes and things like that. So people who want to learn how to engineer, produce, things of that nature, we gonna run it all. So
is it being funded by the city? Like
right now, it's self-funded.
Self-funded?
Everything's self-funded.
Yeah.
But we just turned it over to. Well, I ain't gonna speak on that too much. Nonetheless, though, we are getting into the whole funding and things of that nature. So we in that process right now. You know what I'm saying? So. Like I said, it's still early, but yeah, within the next year or two, yeah, it's gonna be on a whole nother level. It's already on a whole nother level from last year to now. So, yeah, we on pace for expansion. So
it's like, yeah, but it's like we know all this, like we know like all the shit that we talk about the scene now at this current time, how we came up in it. It's like, yeah, who's better to do that, to go back and like fix it for the next generation.
No,
you can go
absolutely.
back and instill different things, and then when they might grow up and be like, oh yeah, no, we had support in the city the whole time. We fuck with VA. You know what I mean? Like,
cause look, man, like I used to get mad at people like Pharrell, Timbaland, and all these other big people. So I'm like, dog, I feel like they ain't really going back and giving a hand to the city in the area. But like my mentality had to start changing. I'm just like, that's not really their responsibility. I would love for them to do that, but that's not per se their calling or responsibility. So I got, I shifted my mindset and just said, man, well, look, why can't I become the hand? And then from that point on, I was like, all right, as I build up my accolades and things like that, eventually I'm going to move back to VA and I'm going to get it popping. And I'm going to get it rolling to the point where it's like, you only going to really start to feel comfortable rolling through us. I'm not saying this is the only path, but we want to create an outlet. It's just like as an electrician, it's like when you plug something into the wall, it's going to go through them circuits and things, and it's going to travel through all the millions and gazillions of wires and things like that, and it's going to end up, and it can end up any and everywhere. That's the vibe. So we just trying to become the plug for Virginia, and not even just for Virginia, but just everywhere, because it's bigger than just Virginia. Man, when I was getting to the bigger cities like LA and things like that, like, I mean people who's 10 years old, they making 100% records.
Wait, what do you mean 100% records?
What I mean by 100% records, like they doing songwriting, they making the beat.
Okay.
They putting it out themselves all 100%. So I'm not sharing my publisher. I'm not sharing no back end with nobody because I made it all myself.
Yeah, you be seeing. I see videos of like little kids on. It's just one kid in particular. I forgot his name, but he just makes like beats live. It'd be like a TikTok, like a minute or two, but you can see him do each instrument and then like put it together. He goes crazy. I mean, I think he's like 7 or 8 or something.
Yeah, bro.
But that's also in every industry too. Every generation gets better. Usually, you can decline too if you don't take care of it and put an effort into helping the next generation. It typically gets better and better. Everything.
Yeah.
Even you look at skateboarding. Skateboarders coming up now are way better as kids than previous generations, where it took them longer to get to those levels. Now they coming up watching people. It's like almost like being able to somebody does something and you can you see it, and it's like it does something in your mind and it makes it more possible for you to do it. Like,
no, I agree. I mean, I equate that to like how the NBA is now compared to what it was at the very beginning, or earlier years. You know what I'm saying? Like, the game has transformed. The athleticism is transformed on a whole nother level. Like, it's people doing some wild things as great players, and they ain't got rings, and it's just like
the average NBA player is better than the average NBA player back in the day.
I won't go far as to saying that.
Really?
I won't go far as saying that because I do.
Not the best,
But yeah, the average, like how you may have like a star player like on every team and things like that. No, if they was in the league back in the day, they can be competing. They probably could have been getting some chips for sure. But now it's just like it's a lot of competition. The competition has gotten thicker, it's gotten bigger, and yeah, bro, like. It's more sharks.
Okay, so I know we bounced around a little bit. So you went to LA. You said you were in band. How kind of let me back up a little bit? How did it kind of start for you? If you want to tell us a little bit about just childhood life
cool.
coming up. Yeah, how you even got into music?
So shout out to Huntington Middle School. I went there, man, and I had my first band director, Mr. White. He put me on. It's crazy. Last name White too. So it's crazy.
Oh, damn, okay.
Yeah. It's crazy. So, he kind of just influenced me. He kind of gave me the vibe. Started off by playing trumpet. And the even reason why I even shouting out Huntington, because I actually work at Huntington right now. That's one of my passion jobs right now.
Is that one of the things you're doing with the music in the schools or something else?
It's something completely different. It's like a passion-based type job project. Like, remember I was telling you, like, this is my first time having a job. Like, last year is the first time I had a job since 2010. Yeah. Other than that, it's been straight music. That's straight it. But when I got back in the area, it was an opportunity to teach back at my old middle school. And I was like, well, man, why not touch the people that, I sat in the same seats as? And so for that, I'm teaching math. So I like numbers. I like money.
Which math?
7th grade math. So talking about like tips, tax, commission, things of that nature, graphing, equations. Pretty much the math that
we learned about taxes in school. I don't remember that.
Yeah, see, that's
is this new or did we learn about taxes?
Oh man, it was in the curriculum. We probably just ain't never pay attention.
No, so you can actually being someone that's working in schools, you can see the curriculum changing.
No, yeah, for sure. I can definitely see the curriculum changing, but even past that, it's just like from the inside out. Like, I see the politics and the way how schools is being ran. Man, that's bugging. I see how the politics and things is, so it's just interesting being in the midst of that and working around that and being able to create that connection with the kids, because that's the thing, man. You don't see a lot of teachers that's really connected with, I feel like, our kids, man. Especially, I'm dealing with downtown Newport News kids, so, people label them as the worst kids and things like that. I'll never teach at Huntington because them kids is off the chain and this and that. They just off the chain because you don't really understand them. You can't even connect with them. So I feel like why not have somebody like me, a black male role model there, and somebody who sat in the same seat, done a lot of different things, know the lingo of how they talk and things like that. Not trying to be there and go there and be their friend, but I can be able to go there and relate to them on many levels, because a lot of the things they may be experiencing or have experienced, I'm probably already experienced too. So it's therapeutic, man. It's like a therapeutic type job, man. So that's pretty much my vibe. I think the initial question that you was asking, though, was like, how did I jump into the music?
Also, is that band director still working there?
No. Oh, no. He retired and everything. No. But yeah, man, like, I jumped into the band while all playing the trumpet, man. And from that point, I started learning how to play more brass instruments, got a scholarship to Nova State University. I went to Heritage High School. I was starting to play there when I was in middle school, working in the marching bands. Then eventually from that point, got my scholarship at Nova State University. Was working there in the Spartan Legion band, marching band, symphonic band, jazz band. I just loved all music, so it wasn't even really like just popular music, but it's just music on all levels. I mean, I was probably one of them people that like, all right, if I'm doing outside of music curriculum work, I'm the one, the type to listen to jazz music or Beethoven or things of that nature. So, and then I might turn around, I might listen to Young Dolph, then I might listen to some, whoever from that point, and go from there.
So you finished Norfolk State.
Finished Norfolk State in 2014, December. Then I moved back to this side of the water, top of 2015. Yeah, top of 2015, if I'm not mistaken. Is it 15? Yeah, top of 2015. So I linked up with Rick Rogers. I heard he was the best guy in the city. So I was like, man.
We just did a Fire Ass episode, so you should check that out. He
went
into his whole new, like,
the new
life,
his new, he's in a whole new
man.
I love it, man. It's very inspirational, bro. I love it, man. Shout out to Rick Rogers, man, my guy. So, man, I had the guys, Clint Eastwood, my man, Thomas Dudley. He run, matter of fact, he run the only black-owned driving school right up the street off of work or whatever like that. But yeah, shout out to him too, man. They introduced me to Rick Rogers or whatever like that. Working at a studio off of King Street, stuff like that. I got a little gig over there, and then I met him, and I had mixed a record for him called Rich by 30. And that was like the start of our relationship,
Rick
man.
Song?
Just that song, and mixed it and mastered it for him, and then Yeah, bro, it just became love, and then he moved into his spot where Cartel and everybody else is at.
Oh, he's over there now?
Nah, he was over there.
Because the only studio I've ever been to him, I think it was in Norfolk. It was like up the stairs.
Oh yeah. So before that joint, he was at the spot that I'm at with me and Cartel at.
Okay.
Right now. So yeah, he had like 2 rooms over there, whatever like that. So I was helping him put together his room as far as like the acoustic, sound, things like that, overall landscape. And then I came across a room of a guy, my man Gus Singleton, shout out to him. And I seen he was working in the studio. I said, dog, man, what's up, bro? Did some business with him, man. He had another studio downtown Hampton while I was still in college. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm in this room and everything now, man. Got things set up. I'm looking at him, man. I was like, oh, man, you got the best room in here. I said, oh, man, I like this setup. I like how you got everything laid out. I said, man, look, man, I just graduated, man. Look, I need to go ahead and get me a little job in engineering right now. Like, what's up? I put in the application that Thursday. Probably by that Monday, I was in that studio every single day. And I just pretty much ran a day-to-day operations to the point where he couldn't even really get in there, paying his bills and everything like that. And then I'm still able to get in there and make my money and do everything I need to do. Great relationship that worked out well. He had some issues that eventually didn't pan out for him, so he needed to, liquidate the business and just move back to where his kids and things like that out of state. But eventually, man, it came to the point I was like, man, I need this room. I need this equipment. If you move with every single thing because you own everything, man, I'm gonna be in back doors. You know what I'm saying? So I told him, I said, man, look, well, how much you want to sell it for? Just bossed up and said, man, look, how much you want to sell it for? We came up with some numbers, printed everything up, what I was gonna take, what he was gonna still take. And within 2 years, I just made payment plans and I paid him off.
You bought the equipment and maybe the clientele too?
Nah, not even the clientele, because the clientele was there. The clientele drove up because I was there. And just because Rick was down the hall and I was down on this end, I was already building a certain type of clientele from whether I was in school or at the time before, I was having like a mobile studio set up that I was going between my mama's house or in studio dorms or people's houses and things like that. So from building up clientele from all that, man, and just a year or two, I was working up underneath him and just pretty much running his studio for him. I had a really good little list of clientele, and it was just all based off of word of mouth. Really, never hard promotions, nothing too crazy, not too many flyers. I'm probably only had maybe like 1 or 2 flyers of them with my recording studio. So
I was talking to Fresh about this. Fresh, he's actually in that same building too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he was telling me how many people he was record sometimes on like a monthly basis, and it was kind of shocking to me. Mm-hmm. Like he was telling me he was recording like over 100 people sometimes in a month. And I'm like, there's really that many people like trying to record out here?
Nah, it's that many people. Like, it's that many people and more. It's that many.
He was telling me there was people coming from, I want to say Texas. It might have been Florida, but it was like somewhere it was like a hurricane or something. The power went out, and then he was getting hella business from down there. They were literally driving up here to go to his studio.
I can believe it. I done had some people come from out of state a couple times too. I had some people. I had one of my mans, Will Casanova. He came all the way from LA to work with me. People got him down from Richmond, DC. People from Philly. Had some people from New York driving down. Of course, people from Carolina, South Carolina. Yeah, it's people from everywhere that's gonna come. Like when they find out that you good and that you really got something that they feel like that they can't get at home, people gonna travel for it. And when I start seeing that and I start feeling that, even at that young, I already knew that. Yeah, I know I'm gonna definitely have to bring that joint back here, because it's like, man, at the end of the day, if you're real serious about working with somebody, you're gonna pull up where they at.
Yeah,
you are at the end of the day. So,
any thoughts on just running a business, especially a business like in music? I feel like it's kind of more niche. Just pushing yourself.
Really take yourself as a business, man. Get your CPA, get your certified personal accountant. Get your LLCs, get your S corp, get your trust funds, get whatever, however you really want to run your business, format wise. Get your paper trail right, as far as like get your different accounts, get your business accounts, separate that from your personal assets, and really run it up. Get all your different tax advantages and things like that, all your different write-offs, and start it early. And then if you don't know too much about that, you don't know people where to start it at, just get out in the field and get some mud on yourself. Just learn it through making mistakes. It's like, why not? I feel like that's the best teacher anyway.
And sometimes, even like you said, you was working under both for a couple of years. Sometimes you gotta take that intern position or different things to get your foot in the door. Like,
Absolutely.
Just learn the game.
Absolutely.
YouTube, you can only learn so much on YouTube tutorials. You got to get into the real world, like.
And see now, yeah, man. And I ain't gonna lie,
you gotta learn a lot on YouTube though.
Yeah. Nah, for sure. And that was definitely me, man. Because I mean, I just used to stay on YouTube and just like constantly be obsessed with just learning stuff. Like it ain't even have to be music related, but it could just be as simple as cooking something, cooking a particular dish, or how to clean a particular object or something, or how to do something on a car or whatever. It's like that. It's just like,
oh yeah, I've been saying like since
fascinated with it. So.
Yeah, since YouTube tutorials came out, like I feel like car mechanics probably lost some business.
Oh yeah, most
definitely. You can really learn.
Now they made car mechanics too. They made new car.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying, mechanics too. You know what I'm saying? That's probably how it made up in other different ways.
They keep making cars more and more like advanced. So you gotta take it to them.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Especially if you starting to jump up to like the luxury vibes and things like that. Yeah, you gonna find you somebody who know what they really doing. You can't find no YouTuber.
So you got a studio. You have 2 studios now or one?
No, so I got one.
Okay.
I got one studio. Working on. I got a couple of different things in the pipeline. I ain't gonna speak too much on it, but when it pop off, it pop off. But other than that, man, yeah, I just got my main one studio, but I work out at many different studios all over. So yeah, we just tapped in. We just figuring it out,
I fuck with it, man. So you got the studios, man. You doing the passion project with the kids.
Hey, my bad, I ain't even mean to cut you off. You know how you asked me what's some advice to people who like doing the niche for like the music niche and things like that. You spoke on something. You was like interning. So I think interning is definitely a great way, and I think some people get lost in that. Let me speak on that for a slight second. So like I used to go down to like Atlanta, like Patchwork Studios and all these other big legendary studios, Stankonia and all this and that, and I meet a plethora of different up and coming engineers, producers that's interning at these spaces, and it's dope. But some people had the mentality of like, I'm gonna go from this internship for 6 months, and then I'm gonna go over to this next internship. Then I'm gonna bleed over to this next internship, and I'm gonna just build my network and things like that. And I ain't mad at that for anybody who made that work for themselves, because I'm not coming from a traditional background as an engineer. Most people tend to go get internships after college, or somehow, some way through knowing people in their networks, and then they build themselves up through that manner and way. For me, I was more of a YouTuber, and I went more of the unconventional route. So for people who do go more of that conventional route, I'm looking at it where it's like, I'm going to overdo everything when I have an internship. I feel like if you're going to take an internship, overly take it seriously. Because I don't want to get it to the point where it's like, I want you to, what can I do for you? How can I make your day or your job easier? How can I put bags in your pocket? Because eventually the amount of more bags I put in your pocket, it's going to replenish to have bags in my pocket. And then within 6 months, my goal is I need this internship to turn into a job. Some people mindsets is different when it's doing internships. They just want to go there just to learn and just be that. It's like, nah, bro, take the opportunity and go to the max with it. Like, create an opportunity out of it. Create something even new, something that you and the person you got the internship with, a company you got the internship with, didn't even think of fathom us before you was there. Be that much of an impact. You know what I'm saying? I think some people, man, we in such a culture right now, bro, where a lot of people are waiting for people to hand things to them.
You gotta create that shit.
Nah, man, you gotta take it, run with it, man, and create something with it, man. Because it's like, bro, ain't no handouts out here in the real world. Ain't too many handouts for real.
Things like you said, bro. You actually have to bring value to stuff. Absolutely. You gotta figure out what you do, like what you want to do first, and then really just get good at that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think it's like you said, like it's really all the mindset, like the mentality you have with it. Are you really gonna obsess over this? Are you really gonna put the work in? Because it's somebody out here that's fucking doing this shit for 3 days straight. Mm-hmm. Not going to sleep or not, you know what I'm saying? Like going way harder. Like
absolutely, not even just.
It's not even just about. It's not about the talent
wants your spot. Anymore. Somebody wants your spot.
I always remember that interview.
Somebody's jealous about the seat that you sitting in right now. They want to sit in your seat.
I always remember the video with Drake. He was like in an interview or some shit. He was like, "No, I'm not competing with these guys. I'm competing with the kid that's sitting at home that none of us know, but that's gonna be bigger than me and all these guys." You know what I'm saying? Like, so this shit go, shit go deep. Like,
that's funny that you even said Drake in that manner, man, because I don't think people really recognize the business vibes of that man right there. Like,
no, he definitely one of the goats.
Man is on a whole nother level, man. I like how he's working with a lot of the artists that's on the come up and things of that nature, but the business moves he making on that end too, man. I think is love too.
My boy been hating on the steak shit. He said he been trying to get people over the steak. to lose money because he's always winning. Like he'll just do a random bet and win like $1 million or some shit. Like he's always winning. And my boy was like, "Nah, bro, we ain't going to stick." I'm like, "I don't know. Check it out." But no, he's doing crazy business moves. You heard about the casino in Portsmouth that's about to open? It might even open.
I hear about that joint. Yeah. They had a. It's funny that you even say that because I was about to run sound for them. But yeah, that's a whole other conversation. Yeah.
Hell yeah,
that's
no look.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it, bro.
I love the fact that that's coming to the city, man. I'm not a gambler per se. Yeah, I'm not a gambler per se, but what I would say, man, is like I think it's dope vibes, man. It does tell you that there's a lot of more money that's about to be going in and out of the
probably
75 area.
I hope not a lot, but probably more homelessness.
Yeah, I hope it knocks off a lot.
It's probably going to turn a lot of people into real gambling addicts out here. That's why, because I've been to the casino a bunch of times, like probably like 7-8 times, but I might go like once a year or some shit. But I was always kind of happy that it didn't exist in our city, like that I had to drive far to go to it.
Nah, most definitely, man. But I mean,
that's all self control and shit.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. It's all about definitely self control, man. I know a couple of people who are gambling addicts, man. I'm talking about they can blow a bag, they can go through a bag. I'm talking about people who. I'm talking about some. I ain't gonna speak too much on it. I had to hold what I got. But like we talking about, man, I know people who probably done hit it for like 40,000. They didn't hit it like on a normal like that. And for some people, of course, people like Drake, they're like, man, 40,000 ain't nothing. But for somebody that's local and they got a regular 9-to-5 job, that's all right. That's some people's salaries. You know what I'm saying? That's all right. But turn around, do that 40 next week. That 40 gone. Spent the whole 40 trying to get more, and then end up you can get more in debt past the 40. And it's just like, yeah, it can get very addictive, man. I mean, yeah.
That's the worst when you lose it the second time.
Yeah, man. So that's
when you lose your money, it feels shitty. But then when you win it back and lose it again, it's so much worse. Like, fuck, bro. I should have just went home. But hell yeah, look, I love it, bro. We about an hour in. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
Man, man, if you just want to tap in with me, man, whatever, man. First of all, man, before I even get there, man, I got to thank you, man, and everybody, man, from the production set, man, just for allowing me to just even come here, man, just, start things off top of the year, man. So, I appreciate the love and the vibes, man. Other than that, man, just tap in with me, man. You can holler at me, do Mixed by gwhite on every single thing, all platforms. Music Tech, MUSIQ Tech. On Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. And yeah, man, just tap in, man, musictech.com. Yeah, we doing a little bit of everything, man. Tap in if you want to know about the future.
Hell yeah, bro. Now we appreciate you for sliding. You want, what I'm saying, you one of the people out here doing cool shit. You just know you're inspiring the city. You know what I'm saying?
Vice versa.
All bros links will be in the description. Like I always say, fuck with the artists from the 757. And yeah, we gonna see y'all soon. We actually have one more episode dropping this week too, so stay tuned for that. Peace.